Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Just want to wish you guys a happy new year. Today is the 1st of January and I'm so excited for what the year has to offer. So if this is your first time of seeing me on your screen, hi, my name is Ezine. This is my channel, Ezine Sews. I make sewing tutorials on this channel. If you're already here, you might as well just subscribe, right? For more videos like this. Give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section. And in today's video, we're going to be doing something special. We're going to be decluttering our sewing room. Okay, so we've been sewing all through last year, and I'm sure you've been gathering scrap fabric. Okay, even if you haven't been gathering scrap fabric, I've been gathering scrap fabric. I like those fabrics that are too big to discard but too small to make anything out of it, unless you want to make like 1,000 scrunchies, right? And I don't need 1,000 scrunchies. But yeah, I'm going to be putting together some of those fabrics today to make a beautiful kimono. So you can put yours together and make a skirt, a shirt, a dress. Honestly, the possibilities are endless as long as you are getting rid of most of them so that we can make space for all the things we're going to be making this new year. So with that being said, let's get into the tutorial. For this tutorial, I am going to be making use of these fabrics. Make sure that yours are of similar weight and texture. I'm also going to be making use of 3 yards of lining, but this is totally optional. I also have some leftover satin that I'll be using for the collar band. On a thick piece of paper, I drew a square of 7 by 7 inches. This is the pattern I would be using to cut out the squares. Now you can use a piece of fabric to do this, but I found that doing it that way might result to cutting out inconsistent squares, so I'd rather a paper pattern. Now I ironed the fabric to straighten it out, and I'm going to be folding it and trying to see how many squares I can cut out at once. Next thing to do is to use the pattern paper to cut out the squares. And as you can see, I could cut out 4 squares from this piece of fabric. And try to make the most of each fabric by cutting out as many squares as you possibly can from it. You're going to keep on repeating this process for all the fabrics that you have. And here, this is all I could get from mine. Next thing I did was to separate all of them into each individual fabric so that I can see all the patterns that I'll be working with. And then I just started laying them side by side next to each other, mixing and matching the patterns. And I laid them in a row of 4 as this would be enough for me. Now when we get to the drafting part of this tutorial, you will be able to make your own calculations and see how many squares you would need to be able to get to your desired width. But for me, 4 is enough. As for the length, I used 5 squares for now, but I ended up adding one more layer because I still had excess fabric. You're just going to have to work with what you have. The most important thing is to get the width right. The length can change depending on the amount of fabric that you have. Now I'm going to be joining it, and I used a pin to secure the squares together before sewing it. Now there's a method that I used in joining it to kind of speed up the process. So let's say this is section A, B, C, and D. I pinned all of them, all the sections individually like this. Then I sewed square 1 and 2 of A, and right after I sewed square 1 and 2 of B, and when I'm done I'll sew square 1 of and 2 of C, just like that. And once I'm done with the 1s and 2s, I moved over to the 2s and 3s. I hope this makes sense to you. When you're done, this is what it should look like now. Then press your seams open with your iron. If you have an overlocker, you would have to finish the raw edges first before pressing it. Now after pressing it, I'm going to be joining it in the lengthwise direction. After doing that, give it a good press. And now you have one piece for the back. You'd need to do another piece for the front and two small ones for the sleeves. I'm going to be showing you how to draft the kimono on a paper, but I did draft mine on the fabric itself and can't show you that because it's not really clear. So now first for the back piece, at the top I measured 2.5 inches for the neck width and 1 inch for the neck depth. Now using a curve, I connect the 2 points together. To get the width of the kimono, I divided my biggest round measurement, which is my hip measurement, by 4 and then added 4 inches to it. Then from the center line, measure and mark the points and connect with your ruler. Now on that line, I measure my shoulder to armhole plus 4 inches, which for me is 7 plus 4 inches. That is 11 inches. This is how wide the sleeves are going to be. Then I'm just indicating that this will be on fold for the back. Now for the front neckline, I measured 1.5 inches from the center line and made the points. Then I measured 10 inches downwards from the neckline and connected the neckline to that point. Then I just continued the line, connecting the 1.5 inch marks that I made earlier. Now this would form the neckline for the front, and I'm making a scissors mark indicating that I would have to cut this out for the front. I added a 1/2 inch allowance to the shoulder line. Now this is the pattern that I used for the front and the back. As I said earlier, I did this directly on my fabric, so you can do that as well. Or if you rather doing it on paper, whichever one you'd prefer. Now this is for the front, and I cut out 2 pieces. I cut out lining as well, since I'll be making use of that. And I made the lining 1 inch shorter than the main fabric. This is the back. I cut this on fold and I cut out lining also. And the same thing, I cut it 1 inch shorter than the main fabric. Now this is the sleeve. As I said earlier, the width is my shoulder to armhole plus 4 inches, and the length is whatever you desire for yours to be. Mine was a full sleeve. Also, I cut this out on fold and I cut out 2 pieces for the 2 sleeves and lining as well. And as usual, I cut it 1 inch shorter than the main fabric. Next thing to do is to join the front and back at the shoulder, and you're going to do this with right sides facing each other. Now when you're done with the main fabric, you're also going to do this for the lining. And after doing this, press your seams open. With right side facing, you're going to match up the lining and the main fabric at the hem, and you're going to pin it and sew it. Now we're going to be pinning the lining and the main fabric at the shoulder point. By doing this, once you lay your fabric down, you would notice that the main fabric would come up by half an inch on the lining side, and that's what we want. You're going to press it down with your iron. Now moving on to the sleeves, we're going to be hemming it the same way as we did for the main body. So pin the lining to the top of the sleeve, sew it, and when you turn it to the right side, it should have moved up by half an inch. This is what it's looking like after I'm done, and I also made a stay stitch at the top of the sleeve. Next thing to do is to join the sleeves to the body. So match up the shoulder seam to the center of the sleeve, then pin it and sew it. Now when you're done, give this a good press. And now we're going to join the sleeve and the body at the side seam using one straight stitch. After sewing this, I made snips at the armhole. Then I pressed the seams open. Now we're going to be taking the length for the band. I folded the cloth in two and measured from the bottom to the back neckline. Now I'm going to multiply this value by 2 to get the full length for the band. Using the measurement that I got, I cut out the black band with width 2¼ inches on fold. Now I had to join two pieces together because I couldn't get one full piece. I stitched the ends to finish the raw edges, and then I turned it over to the right side. Then I pinned the band to the body and stitched it with a 1/2 inch allowance. And that's it, guys. When you're done, just give this a nice good press and your kimono is all done. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel for more videos. If you have any questions, can leave those in the comment section. And I suggest that you would watch this video next, as it is fully beginner friendly and a great add to your wardrobe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.